Hi lovelies, part 2 of the Journey into Pips. Journey into the Pips series, which means the number 2. And disclaimer, my lessons here for one card usually takes about an hour. We also look through every different number 2s or number whatever we are working on right now to see the whole image. So this is the way I teach and this is the way I do. So get comfortable, get your deck out, look at your different big deck tools as we go and take notes what you see on them. And as I mentioned, I am using the playing card meanings somewhat to the pips, but as I learned the playing cards with the so-called Scott system, then I started with number 6 and up. So number 2 is not in the playing card system per se. Then we have to follow the numerology and the basic meaning of number 2. Let's start with the simple thing as the shape of number 2, as opposed to number 1, which is straight. And if you would flex it, it can break. But the shape of number 2 is like the shape of a tree that has to adjust themselves around, growing around something, or how the environment affects the growth, and they adjust themselves according to what obstacles come in the way. So the number 2 is more flexible visually than the number 1. Number 1 means straight up one thing, the start, etc. I will leave this video down below, and if you want to search all of the videos from the series which include the playing cards, then just search for the hashtag into the pips. Let's start with number 2. So, swords. Let's take the oldest deck I have to show. Sorry for the glare. So I explained in the first video, so this one might not be as long as the aces or the number 1 video, where I explained why I use this order of swords, wands, cups and coins, and all that applies. Now we are just talking about the cards, what we see on them and how to read. So here on the old Italian decks like this, not much is going on. The swords are crossed in here. Let me see, so you can read it like other crossed swords. Many of the swords are not crossed when there's only 2 swords on this. So these read a little bit differently than usual cards that, well, we'll see. These cards that have the crossed sword, let's talk about the meaning of number 2 before. I'm holding up 2 different ways that the swords, or 3 maybe, different ways than, maybe this one looks better or bigger. The Marseille, the old Italian, and then everything that other pips are showing. So I'm trying to avoid the glare. These are the three main ways to show the swords, either crossed or bowed, but two touching points with the foliage or something in the middle. So I'm holding up this while I can't just hold up three, but you don't have to then look at my face when I talk, because I explained why I can't do. The light and everything is not so good to show only cards and hands, so you have to bear with my face on the cam. So the number 2 shows choice, duality, and like I said, it's more flexible than number 1. This meaning you can play around with it more than just number 1 or the ace. The ace is more sturdy in nature, or the number 1. But number 2 can be read as opposites. When they are crossed, I read them as opposites, but also the possibilities and choices you have to make. When we are in opposition with something, then we have to make a choice, either fight or run, or maybe negotiate. This means number 2 to me. So crossed swords for me show more of the opposite standing point, or the, as in swords, it then means the collision of ideas or some kind of opposition within yourself, in your ideas, or with someone else. As I mentioned in the first video, swords also for me as an air element are everything that we use with air. Not only the thoughts, ideas, but also words. Words come out with air, using air. We can't speak without having air or using air. And when you put them out there, it's in the air. Also, words can hurt. If the swords are out, the words are hurtful, or the thoughts or the plans might be hurting someone. If the swords are not covered, I have a deck where they are not. In this Vachetta deck, the swords are not, the blades are not out, but they are covered. So this one again can be read differently, because when the swords are not out, they are used more creatively and used more cautiously. That can bring better results as opposed to the outdrawn swords. With this deck, the sword ends, the sharp parts are covered. So while this means the clashing of words or ideas, it also means that they are not hurtful. The words and ideas are clashing, but something good will come out of it as a negotiation, or the throwing opposite ideas. And this is not a fight, but like creative way of using thoughts and words, like debate, when we are not fighting but getting experience, and also using the opposite views to evolve. So also the number 2 to me means that when the number 1 seed has put into the soil, where it's dark, now with number 2 it comes into the light. The things that were hidden before, number 2 brings them out to the plain sight. The things are moving, and how they move, that choice is yours. With swords, they are moving through the throwing back and forth the ideas. With this one, with this one, again, they are opposite ways completely. This one I read as opposing forces, like the real duality that is the choice of good and bad, the choices we have to make when we speak or think or plan something. Which way will you go? This is not only opposing each other, but this is also a choice. In the way this is shown. And with twos, you have no option to not to choose fight or flight. Do you choose to learn from this clashing of the ideas, or you are sturdily trying to stick with your ideas and your views, and you're not bending like the number 2 should? This shows beautifully the clashing of the words or ideas, and the owl in there is reminding to make it smartly and learn from this experience. And owl for me is the symbol of seeing the things that are not in the plain sight, using your intuition and your previous knowledge or experience. So owls are the symbol of being smart, and also the ability to see in the dark. The owl can see in the dark, like I said before, what was in the dark before now comes to light, and you have to create this light, or be able to see the things instead of being blind or going into the opposing situations with blind, blunt, I want to say stupidity, but it's somewhat stupid to rush things and make those fights to hurt someone. These swords are drawn out, so this means that if used not correctly or used against each other, they will hurt. So you have to be smart about it. In this one, the swords are not actually crossed, and they are pointing one direction, which means the duality is working together. The possibility of working together. And like I said, some decks have something going on in here, like in this one. You can see these are the war tents, so to speak, when the troops were on the way to somewhere, or maybe were like sieging something. Like on the old times, it was really the wars were really popular before the cannons came. They just tried to wear the people in the closed towns out, so they don't have resources left and have to surrender. It was like the waiting game. So in here you can see red and white tents, which shows that they are in the opposite sides. They are negotiating. The tents are side by side. They are not fighting, but they are finding the way to solve this with words. Oh, sorry for the shadow. With words, with ideas, and yeah, negotiating, getting the peaceful way of solving this. Let me see what else I have here. In here, however, the swords are heavily crossed up there, not in a upright, but downright motion. Swords are out and they are like the corner or angle of the swords is suggesting that this is already tilted towards the more violent solution or hurtful solution. And also on the picture here you can see they are actually already fighting each other and trying to overpower one another. This shows, and this I read as the hurtful way of solving things and quarrels and arguments that where both sides are just not thinking clearly and not seeing clearly and letting things out of control. Let me see what else I have here. Here you can see the swords are on the ground and they are making truth. Opposite forces, again, different clothes, like different colors, always represent different sides of the story. If they would wear the same color of clothes on the war field, it was really important. How would you else understand who is on your side and who is not? The different colors, this is like the chess game. And they are on the opposite forces and they have put their swords away and are greeting each other or shaking hands, which means they are using the words wisely without fighting. Again, choice. It is always choice. And with number 2, the choice is not only presented, but the choice always has to be also made. These are similar, opposing to each other. They are not clashing, but the opposing ideas are presented, and now we have to figure out, think, and maybe debate through what is going to be next. Let me see what else I haven't showed you. Now the Marseille style. The swords are crossed here and there. So up and down like all other swords in this suit. Sometimes there's a additional sword, we will talk about that then, but usually you can see something like that on the Marseille decks, where they are touching here and there. So we can't really use that as a base of our reading, because this is the art style, this is the way they have been presented. So we have to look what is going on around here, and also inside, if there is something inside. So this is, sorry for the glare, sorry, trying to. So this is the two of swords of the Marseille style. This is the old Italian deck, which name can't I remember. Mine is called Classic Tarot. It's also in a form of an ancient Italian, I think, but it has a strong touch of the swords of Marseille style in it already, because it was created later than the Marseille deck arrived, and they then, like, the styles became mixed up more. So as number twos, the diplomacy also, which is the way we choose to solve things. Diplomacy is also part of negotiation, part of the warfare, so to speak, and without diplomacy we are left with fighting only, because we just can't use our words and thoughts wisely enough. So in here, two swords are protecting the inner core here, but yet there are some kind of, here they are shown as ribbons, and the foliage in the middle. So you can use and read that as a blooming will follow of this, so to speak, opposing of two different sides of ideas. And as they surround this middle, and there's no sword points out in here, so with the two in this one, I read it as the blossoming of the seed of number one, with added new information or ideas that have been used wisely for growth. And last one I want to show is the Pagan Otherworlds, which I mentioned that follows more of the Rider-Waite system, but you can read it as, this is wands. I have been making some mistakes, I'm sorry. They are crossed. There's the blindfold, if you want to see it in the Rider-Waite system, but you don't have to. This can be also the white flag of truth, the pause between the fighting in order to create the wished and expected or balanced outcome for both parties involved. With this deck, I didn't see water in any others. In this deck, the water and the rocks in here show, you can see the rocks are like path going in there, but the path is broken. Water signifies for me always the emotions. So this situation in this deck for me is based on emotions. Emotions are the cause of this clash of ideas, and if we can rise above the emotions, we can do we can do we can judge better if we can be above whatever caused it, but to work together to create this new working for us idea or way to proceed from here, so the path is not would not be cut like in here, but with both sides working together we can overcome this. You can use those swords as a bridge, and your destination is maybe to climb that little rock in there, and maybe as if it's a path like thing, and the interruption in here. So now the ideas have to be creative and not emotion based. Emotions based things are so easily to get out of hand. This. Now wands, again in this deck they are crossed, which means a opposition of actions. While the swords were ideas and words, the wands are the actions, what we do, how we act, the choice. Will we act so it ends with a blockage? And separately, this card means the clashing actions that occur. One person wants to do one thing and another wants complete opposite, and now is the place to negotiate through this so one's actions are not harming another person. Again, choices we have to make. If we choose to harm other person, we are blocking ourselves of getting on with this task also. So if this card comes in the middle, it immediately shows that this is going to get, this way you planned is going to get blocked. You can't, this is not easy flow for you. I am trying to show now. This was the oldest deck. Now I am getting out the two Marseille. Again, the same kind of blockage, but with the foliage in here, you can see the possibility of growth. The active or proactive acting will provide the new horizons on this, while for the moment the things and actions are blocked, but this can be overcome, and this blockage can even create new possibilities for you that you are not seeing right now. Maybe stop pushing this situation and choose the not the fight but flight, meaning that pull back and be more flexible to see what the other party is now going to do and adjust yourself accordingly to overcome this blockage. And this will provide you new possibilities of growth in your ways to create something. Next ones, here is the same story. Two different sides are creating one mutual bloom, but as there are droplets or like tears in here, that means both have to sacrifice something to get this result. Negotiation, the adjustment, and the acceptance of the different ways to do things. Here you can see blockage. This card I read as the working together to achieve something and embracing the fact that sometimes two different ways and two different people with their two different ways of creating something can achieve the same goal, just in their own different way. Don't oppose the different way of doing things. Not everything has to be done your way. But the droplets or the little tears, I see that you have to adjust yourself and let go of some of your rigidness or the rigidness in completing something. In this deck, they are completely opposite. They are going different ways. There is no way these two can cooperate unless one chooses to turn around and they can follow the same path. Again, choices. But first, if I see this card, I see that no, these things are going opposite ways, and I am going to encounter someone or something that pushes the other way with something. Let's say, for example, you want to finish something with a project and someone else runs over you with their ideas and tries to overrule it, and you have to be either strict and not to bend choices or try to negotiate so either of you will, so the cooperation can occur. These are going one way. They are, and in here you can see the man is plowing the field with horses, but the man is dressed in a fool's clothing, and he is also like using something stick with either for the horses, or maybe, I don't know, making the music thing with the stick. So this particular card tells me that as the horses pull this together, and this man is only fooling himself that he is leading something, because horses are put side by side into this blowing thing, and if they want it or not, they have to go together on one direction. If one wants to turn and other doesn't, then everything, they are still stuck together. They are going to be having to cooperate with each other. Then there's an option for you. If you are facing this situation, then either again you are complying with the other party, or you are starting to fight this and nothing gets done. In here, Two of Batons, you can see a sad person. For me, this is the person who has given up and chosen to not to cooperate. And when this card appears, it tells me that the thing you wanted to do or someone to do, they will give up on you and not cooperate with you. So, or is this person you, and you have given up or on something as soon as you faced some blockage in your path. So get over it, make some choices. If you don't want to move anything, then you can't expect any results. This here is a dance thing, and the wands are horizontally, or the clubs, batons are horizontally, and the people are dancing in circle, and there's a equal amount of women and men, like the balance of duality is shown in this one. And it takes two to tango. If the tango music is playing and one wants to, let's say, dance the Swan Lake, then there will be no dancing between those two people. So one has to be adjust themselves to the music that is playing, so the harmony and everything can be enjoyed by themselves and by others involved. Here you can see Two of Wands that are standing apart from each other, or I want to say two little trees that are growing. They are not touching each other. They will grow bigger, and then their branches will be touching each other when they are so close to each other. So then they will start to adjust themselves, so both get light and both get enough room to grow. If you have noticed trees that are growing really near side by side, you can see how their lower parts are apart, but the upper part is intertwined, and they are working together to get all the light. And also, if you would see their roots are also intertwined, so both can get enough room to stand and to get nutrients from, and they live and they let live. The compromise has been made. And in this one, you can see the two flames are stronger than they both apart. So the cooperation is already taking part in here. And this card also again suggests that it is needed to work together to achieve the goals, or to keep your flame burning in help of others, and also help others to keep their flame burning. And in this one is a little bit the same. The boy is using the both wands to express his maybe pride, status. He has already accomplished something and he holds his flame up high, and thanks to that there's no opposition in here but cooperation. The choice has been made to shed the light to the path and let the power of doing something bring this spark or light into the creation. And with this card, as the person is looking somewhere, you will have to be looking what's next to it, because his body and everything is going this way. What's here, this is important, where he is bringing his action and pride and the decision of cooperating. Which action does it mean? Where this action will be leading? Next is the cups. Emotions, home, everything that applies. So with this one, as it is more in our inner world, the words we put out there, the ideas we eventually should put out there, but this is like the outer part. Also the actions, like the wands, are more out there. Now we are going in here. So our home, our security, our emotions, our feelings, and all that applies. In this card, I see that one part of this situation being above other, yet they are not hurting each other. The choice has made. Which one are you? Are you going to lead this, or you are going to be the one who is led to something in a relationship? The choice. We can't both do some things simultaneously in a partnership or whatever relations we have with other persons. They don't have to be love relations, or those things have sometimes to be on a different level. Someone is taking on more than the other, and it's a negotiating thing, it's a agreement thing, and it also suggests that without communication it wouldn't work. If the communication is not here, then the other person doesn't know where the thing is going and who is going to be leading, and both are working their own direction with it. So the communication with number 2 in cups is really important part to achieve the harmony of this going. If this is not related to actual relationship, then it calls you to make up your mind. If you have 2 interests or 2 emotions about something or 2 wishes, then you have to prioritize one and let the other follow in order to achieve the thing you want to achieve, in order to get in emotional state you want to be in. So again, choices and balance between two different levels. With this one, on the here also the same thing. The one that takes the lead and the one that follows, but both parties have to be there for it to be a cooperation. Same here. And that is it. Now the cups that are on the same level. With Marseille deck, the opposing sides are shown with the foliage or the vase and the flowers in between them. While the vase and flowers, everything is blossoming beautifully, this means equal partnership. But the equality can be maintained and grown only by, again, communication, by keeping your emotions so that they don't tilt your relationship or your emotions one way or another. The balance. In here I see balance and the possible growth out of this. I've also seen this one read as love or possible new love growing out of or between two people, which is also readable as that. I usually take a relationship, even if they are starting, we are trying each other out and leveling and trying to be on the same level with other person. If the levels are not right, we are not choosing these people to be on our side or in relationship with, then this will not grow in between us. So this is a possibility of growth and the partnership or the relationship between two people becoming a blooming one. In here it is practically shown what I explained with this one, only you can see the man's cup is higher as it's medieval tarot and follows the classical. More masculine is the one who has to lead, because the weaker part of the relationship, is it man, is it woman, is it, I don't know, child, the weaker part allows the more experienced or more stronger part to take lead, not forever, but the balance must be maintained. Again, the speaking to each other, the talking part is really important with the cups. You can't get harmonious anything, relationship, home, if you can't get into mutual understanding that maybe I have experience in this area, so I can lead this part of the journey or getting to somewhere with our relationship or emotions, and you have experience in this area, so there you can lead. Here it's just shown that you can't read it. You can read it like wrongly and get offended about this, but take it as men are physically usually stronger, and historically this is the symbolics of it. And so the stronger part in this particular area is going to have to take lead for both of the parties to get through this. They are still equal because they are switching it, but this is the balancing of two opposites and working together. Here it's shown really beautifully. They are connected and equal within this connection, which in this card, in this deck, means that whichever relationship or emotion this means, it means it is right now beautifully balanced. And if you keep it adjusting along the way, the balance will be maintained. Here the same. This mountain, the rock formation, so to speak, they are like lovers a little bit. They are touching, and two different sides of this formation have found the balance. The one way where they have the mutual touching point, and now they can go or grow together. Well, the rocks are not growing, but at least they are supporting each other. They can't fall over because they are there for each other, and the touching point, the communication is there. One is tilting and then other can adjust themselves and everything like that. Adjusting, like number two, is adjustable. It's not rigid. You have to be in balance with the adjusting thing. And here you can see it's somewhat let me find, I have such a card mess in here. Where's the cup? Looks a lot somewhat like this, but people are at it. So you can see they are making the deal, or they are agreeing on something, adjusting each other in order to get this growing and blooming. If two parties meet each other and they are both so unbalanced and can't adjust with each other, nothing good comes out of it. This is not a beautiful relationship or like balanced communication with each other. Also, the shadowy side of this is letting one party only to choose and make those and just dragging along with these ones. The warning is there, the warning of not getting this out of balance, so only one leads and the other one feels suppressed eventually, or just is so submissive and can't be happy with this relationship. Although there are relationships where this perfectly works, this is individual and choice. So what do we have here? Last suit is the coins. So earth, material things, choices we have to make. Again, one is above the other. Something has to be chosen as more important than another. We have to maybe we can't pursue things we want at once in this card. When this card appears, when we want something, we can't pursue them at once. We have to prioritize. We have to make the choice. Something has to come first. Maybe the further plan to get something, or maybe you want to purchase this and that, then you have to make a choice which one is more important, more needed, and serves you better, so you can later on get the other one. For example, in this one, pretty much the same, only if you look at the faces of the coins, there are no faces. They are actually equal. You have to just make a choice and prioritize. In here, they are opposites because they are looking at the opposite directions. And the flower in between assures you that this choice you make, if you make it smartly, the outcome will prosper or be good if you can make a choice and not pursue both of them at the same time. So with everything material things, usually they are objects and your possessions, including money, including jobs, the income, the material stability. In order to achieve this, when this card appears, it tells me you have to, if you look at the ways, one is looking to the future and the other to the past, so to speak. Look at where they are looking at the coins, where you see the faces in them, and they are shown from the side. So the upper one allows you to see more and look to the future with more ease, and the other one might not be serving your future, but is maybe serving something from your past. Maybe you craved something and you want to get this because you have a hole in this area. Maybe you in the childhood you missed having this particular thing and you have always wanted this, and now when you have the choice, if I should get something that serves me now, or if I should get something that would have served me if I was a child, but this is something nostalgic or something else, but actually wouldn't help me at this moment to go for this. So here are a bit different. They are both shown quite in a similar way, the Marseille style way, yet here are the coins. This one is upside down, this one is upright, and they are again looking at the same direction, which immediately makes this card different than this one. So I'm taking this one off. Let's talk about this one. The facing, but the thing that in here both coins were upright, just facing different ways. In here the coins are upside down, upright and upside down, which means that the other option we have is somewhat crooked. Here it was a crooked one also because it doesn't serve us now. It's something we crave for whatever reason. And this here tells me also there's no growth in here because these branches are just attached to this. They are not growing. They are just, I don't know, attached to this built type of thing. And they are sealed from each other, like cut away from each other, and they are standing complete opposite. This is a choice between complete opposites, and seeing the maybe the not serving way of this one thing we have to choose between. So in here, this one I would read as a good and a bad choice, and then you put the cards where something is looking at and what is the good choice exactly, what is the bad, and go with other cards around it. What is the choice? Or maybe it already answered your, if you asked specific question about specific choices, then this card shows that one of the choices is not so good and will not serve you, might even turn your stability upside down, the financial or material stability. In this one, there are no opposite sides, and the foliage is growing out of this. It's not just hanging in there, it's growing out. So this more tells about the intertwining of those choices you have to make to gain whatever financial goal you have, or whatever you are pursuing. This shows that you have two similar choices that both can create similar results. But like I said, with the choice always has to be made. You have to choose one of those and maybe make a plan how you can include the other one later, or maybe the other one will follow. If I would just right now take this part of the ribbon and pull it really hard, this one will be moving and this one will be following. They will still move the same direction because the movement or the friction of this ribbon will move both of them the way you pulled the ribbon. This is the way I see it. It is the same in here also. You can pull the ribbon and it will move both again in the same way because this is like physics. But the things might turn. This might go now upside down and this one might go other way. So other cards around it will show you if you should yank it or if you should read it as it is. If there is action needed to turn this thing around for you. Next is this one, really similar to that, only no growth is promised here also. And they are standing on the opposite sides of the ribbon as in Marseille style deck. Here the yanking of the ribbon will move them probably on the same direction, but as the coins are the same as with the Marseille, then it will fall in your favor. But you have to still choose one, because one will fall first. And which one will it be? It is your choice. Which end of this ribbon are you yanking? So the choices between some things, material, work related and such. Here is the Two of Coins with celebrating people. One of them looks like has a scroll of maybe good news, and others have the wrath of victory. And the coins are not in balanced order. So I would read this card as a little win already, a news of incoming money, or the money that you maybe, or something that you thought was lost, you are winning it back. But how does the number 2 or the choices come in here? It's now your choice. If you are getting something back, the thing you thought was lost or gone for you, you now have extra something. Then you either can just spend it or use it wisely for the future. So you can invest it, make a choice what you're going to do with this win. This is how I see this card. Here is the Two of Coins with stormy ship, and you can see one man is holding on to the mast. Is it mast in English? I'm not sure. The coins are in facing same direction, and the people looks like are feeling seasick or bad in this ship. So this card for me reads like things are going to be very much rocky and unbalanced, and it is your choice and need to get this thing back to balance. But it promises a materially rocky ride, this image for me. Some kind of obstacles and some kind of unsecure things are on the way, while it's not in the end game, not influencing the actual state of your material things. It still might tilt you to make some kind of irrational choices that can unbalance this. So expect for a rocky ride, but just hang on, because the things will level out soon. The storm will be over and the ship will not tilt unless you are starting to run around there and make a chaos out of your situation, plus overthink it and create yourself a hard situation and maybe even lose the ship. You know, the actions you make. This calls you not to act. Something will happen, but stay put and just relax yourself through it. In this one, on the opposite, it shows the journey, or the ship coming in with some kind of money things, like the information of getting something. This looks like really similar in the meaning that something is coming in for you. Maybe with this card I want to say that this is more like not unexpected, but the thing, maybe you have ordered yourself something, maybe you ordered yourself a deck. This shows that this will be coming in, or maybe you will be getting a possibility to order something, or some kind of a shipment or gift or something palpable, material object you will be receiving. It might be even a little extra money or raise or something. Again, look at where the ship is going, what's in here, what is this material gain or object related to, and how it's opposites, how it's choices. It is, again, one is above other, and there's foliage growing. So prioritize your shipments, prioritize what you order, because you wait for something that you probably paid for. Something is coming in that cost money. So prioritize, where do you have to buy everything? Think. It is great to receive things, but what else can you do with those amounts? Sometimes we shop with our eyes, not with our needs. If it's balanced, then great, but this might be showing that maybe you feel guilty about the shipment that's coming in because you really don't need it. And this one is the lion eating eagle's head, looks like. And the moon and the sun, lion, the lord of animals on earth, the eagle, the lord of the birds, the sky, opposites, moon and sun, opposites. This is showing the actual clash of the opposites, the light and the darkness. The sun is the Leo and the darkness is the ego. Why? Because he can't really see when his head is in the lion's mouth. So here I would read it as one can get easily swallowed by the material things and the choices we have to make. Again, the same thing with the shipment, the opposites. Do I get it? Why do I get it? Do I need it? Some of the other coins also showed what are your priorities, which stands above other. The light stands above darkness. So the one who is in the light is in a better position than the one whose head has been swallowed by pride, by something. Because this card tells me that you are maybe getting something that strokes your ego, but doesn't serve you as an object per se. So again, the choices of making ourselves feel good with getting everything out there that maybe we ever wanted, or creating better future for us so we can later get those things. We don't have to spend all the little money we get every time and calculate it into the objects right away when the payday is coming. You are getting only so little, so choose wisely where you put it. Will it serve your future? Can you grow number 3, 4, 5 until 10 out of this? You have this opportunity you have here, or you will be endlessly circling in the same place, getting the little amount and putting it in under purchasing things immediately, and you are left with empty pockets and the blindness, and you're just circling, swallowing your own tail all the time. And from a while you realize that you have now all those items, but maybe your priorities change in the future, and now you don't need all those items, so they are obsolete for you. Or, you know, do you need everything immediately? The immediate gratification, the choice, either to build, leave something for the future, or get immediate gratification about of everything you have coming in. And lastly, this one, 2 of coins of the pagan other words, can be read as rider white without the person. The all details are here. Can be read as any of those I just mentioned. It has a boat and water in it, so it can be hinting towards the emotional purchasing, because emotions are the base of this card. They are based on emotions, whatever you are getting or doing or getting yourself into or choosing. Try to raise above the emotional spending or making your material choices based on emotional. This is this card for me. Again, like in those water emotions, mixed emotions, emotional shipment. So yeah, look for the details, what they are meaning to you. I just explained what those are meaning to me and how I see them, how I read them in different texts, how I see different possibilities to read different cards in different decks. Like I said, if you took out your number 2 cards and looked at them, I'm sure you did mention, not mention, notice something that means something for you on this deck that you have, or the other deck there's something else, and this is the meaning of this card for you in this deck. Like I showed with pips, it can be totally different with totally different decks, and it is okay to read them like that. This is your choice and it is your deck. However you agree to read it, this is the way it reads the best for you. Thank you for watching, and we will meet with the number 3s next time. Bye!